from the most watched station in Central Texas. This is KWTX News 10.
When I look at all of these shootings and the response and the aftermath of them, every single time there's a shooting, everyone wants to talk about what the problem is. Well, by now we know what the problem is. The problem is that innocent people are being shot, and that must be stopped.
Governor Greg Abbott says enough is enough. He hosted his first roundtable today in a series of discussions with survivors, educators, and lawmakers. The goal, to stop school shootings in Texas. Our continuing coverage now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Justin Early. Tara Mergener is in Austin tonight, where she listened in to part of the governor's roundtable. She also spoke with Waco Superintendent Dr. Marcus Nelson, who was part of that discussion. We'll hear from her in just a moment. First, though, the latest on what's happening in Santa Fe today. The Galveston County Sheriff says the response of Killeen Native Officer John Barnes Friday prevented an even bigger tragedy. 8 students and 2 teachers were killed at Santa Fe High School south of Houston. The school will reopen a week from now, but some parents worry their children are too traumatized to go back.
They will forever be tainted by this, and my baby is tainted hard.
17-year-old Demetrios Pagorchis is charged with capital murder. He's also under suicide watch at the county jail. Officials are looking into where the allegations he was bullied were coming from and whether they were true or not. Let's go back out now live to News 10's Tara Mergener. Again, she's been covering the governor's roundtable discussions on school violence, which began today and will continue all week. Many educators are a part of those, and Tara, Waco ISD superintendent was there.
That's right, Justin. Dr. Marcus Nelson is one of the panelists. He is here for a very frank and urgent discussion on school safety. Santa Fe was the 22nd school shooting just this year. That is an average of about 1 per week. Now, just a short time ago, the governor said great progress was made this afternoon. These talks are aimed at addressing why these attacks keep happening and how to prevent them. There is growing frustration that there has been one shooting after another, and many parents and others say they are tired of hearing lawmakers offer up thoughts and prayers and little else. So just 4 days after the latest round of violence, Governor Abbott is trying to jumpstart the dialogue with help from local law enforcement, lawmakers, and other state officials.
Something where people across the entire philosophical spectrum can come together and reach solutions like what we're going to be talking about beginning today. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, whether you are pro-gun or believe in more gun regulations, the reality is that we all want guns out of the hands of those who would try to murder our children.
As we said, Dr. Nelson is part of these discussions. I had a chance to catch up with him right after the meeting and ask him if any of this can make a difference.
I think it's very important that we don't desensitize this. This is serious. Lives are being lost, and as a parent myself, I just lose sleep at night every time we have school shootings and children and teachers dying. And I think that coming here today, we're really trying to mitigate any type of threats to our campus. And I know I speak for the governor that coming here today is just the beginning of a long road that we have to take as a society to make sure that we end these types of senseless tragedies.
Now, a number of ideas were mentioned after today's meeting. In fact, at least 2 or 3 dozen of them. And coming up at 6, I'll fill you in on what some of those are. Justin?
All right, Tara, thank you. And for continuing coverage on the Santa Fe school shooting and these roundtable discussions, be sure to download our free app. Just head to your phone's app store and search KWTX. Today is also primary runoff day across Texas, and there are several races we're keeping an eye on for you. The polls close at 7, so you still have time to get out and vote. We'll have much more later on in our newscast this evening. To Panama City, Florida now, where an intense investigation is happening. Officers and deputies surrounded an apartment where an active shooter is believed to be holed up inside. The suspect had reportedly been firing at officers. Witnesses heard as many as 50 gunshots in a span of just minutes. One person was hurt. The sheriff's office says the incident is tied to a homicide in a nearby city.
Started hearing all these gunshots, and you don't know who it is that's shooting. And you're in a neighborhood and you don't know where the shooter is. And so you sound shaken up. What's going through your mind? What, that if we had been a couple minutes later, that might have been us. I've never been that close to gunshot before. I don't know how people in the war do it. It was absolutely petrifying.
Officials say nearby schools and a grocery store were evacuated. The suspect barricaded a door, so deputies are still working to find him and get into him. 13 people are behind bars after joint raids on massage parlors in Bell and Williamson counties. The Texas Attorney General made the announcement in Georgetown earlier today, the same city where several complaints were made about a massage parlor. Well, that investigation expanded to include prostitution and organized crime at other nearby massage parlors. In fact, we know there were 2 in Temple, 3 in Killeen, and 1 in Harker Heights that were all raided and saw arrests. A jury has been seated and the trial is underway for Rico Doyle. He's accused of shooting and killing Keisha Edmund Gray and Deanna Buster at a Killeen apartment in 2015. Doyle is charged with capital murder, facing the death penalty. He was previously sentenced to 4 years after being convicted of killing high schooler Tyrone Haskins. We're getting our first look at 2 men arrested in an area game room raid. We first brought this to you as breaking news yesterday. Abdel Fattah Al-Kab and Shanalba Yazan are both in jail. Al-Kab was arrested on a warrant out of Harris County. Yazan is charged with 2 counts of keeping a gambling place. Waco police served the warrant at the Rio Grande Resale Grocery, Tobacco and Gift off North 25th Street yesterday. It was part of a crackdown on illegal 8-liner gambling operations. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for the Wheel of Justice. And this week, Bell County deputies are trying to find Kadarius Lyman. He's 18 years old, 5'7", weighing 120 pounds. He's wanted for theft of a firearm. It is last known to be in the Belton area. If you've seen him or know where he is, call the number on your screen. McLennan County's 911 system has been upgraded now to allow texting. In the past, you could only communicate with 911 by talking with a dispatcher. Coming up at 6, the full story of changes that could save your life. What began as a bit of a gamble 5 years ago is paying off now. Waco ISD is reporting success since opening its trade academies, funneling students to college or careers. Keisha Lopez joins us now live to show us how it's working. Keisha?
Well, hey, when the district created these academies, no one knew exactly what they were. It was a radical idea by the superintendent at the time, but half a decade later, the idea is really catching on.
The Greater Waco Advanced Manufacturing, Construction, and Nursing Academies, just 5 years into the program, are growing. From 5 Central Texas school districts, they've grown to 12.
Not everyone has to go to college. There's other opportunities, like me, for example.
By sending their students here, they're learning skills to give them the upper hand in both college and the workforce. Take Joanna Escalante, 2017 Waco High grad who studied electronics and welding at Guama. She's now at TSTC furthering her studies.
I would have probably ever decided to do welding if I wasn't in Guama, because I probably would have never discovered it, probably would have never even known what it really was. And now here I am.
According to the Academy's director, an estimated 70% of his graduates go on to college. About 30% go straight to work in their industry. That's what Waco High junior Hippolito Galan plans to do with his welding skills.
I'm not the type of guy to go to college. Like, my family, we don't have money, but yet I'm still trying out there to find, an opportunity out there for me.
These students are not only learning a trade. When they graduate from this 2-year program, they will have earned college credits as part of the dual studies program and certifications in their fields on top of a high school diploma.
So they already have a built-in skill set. If they want to go directly into the workforce, they are much wanted and needed. Those kids are coming out making anywhere between $12 to $15 an hour starting out.
The director says between 70 and 75 students have graduated during the last 3 years, and he expects enrollment to increase nearly 25% next year.
I spend less money, I get further education, I can get a better job, make more money.
Sounds simple enough. Well, another thing that's changing with the academies is the cost. Each district pays the students' tuition. Recently, that cost goes up from $2,900 to $3,200. Now, the actual cost per child is around $5,000. Waco ISD, which runs the academies, absorbs the rest.
All right, Keisha, thank you. Still ahead on News 10 at 5. If you see or hear anything out of the ordinary near Fort Hood, don't worry. We'll tell you what post officials are up to. And in today's Tell Me Something Good, a happy ending for a litter of puppies abandoned at a local post office. Stay with us.